Cigarette fairies. Schizophrenic against it. Do you remember when you weren't at Lancaster and you were afraid to come into the studio to read?
Huey, I'm picturing it the other day. Do you wear this?
Important shit in the pocket. It's made of quartz.
Oh, I thought that was a weed gummy.
No, it's a penis made of
Oh,
quartz.
is it? Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I was given it. It's in the pocket.
Great saving it. Not the previous Lancaster Roses, the one before that.
22.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah.
I wasn't at that, but I had a
I
friend.
was. This was me and the Lancaster Lake incident.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that one.
I had a friend studying at Lancaster at the time, and he rang me and went, "Are you here? Like, why are you eating the Roses?"
Yeah.
I went, "Oh, I'm not at this one." I go, "But there is something you can do because he's a shit poster like me."
You
Well,
text
he's
me asking,
basically
is the studio busy?
Yeah, that's what you can tell. I was like, what's going on? He was like, no, not much is happening. So I rang my mate and I was like, look, you know where like Whitefield LA was, and you know where that studio is, right? He goes, yeah, of course I do. I want you to go in there because no one knew who this guy was.
Yeah.
Not mate of mine.
He burst in the door.
Well, I was like, if you go in there, ask for Milling, ask for Reach, just ask them, say, where's Reach? The moment they put you see him, he's wearing a full shirt. And he goes, what happened? So Max saw the whole thing. My mate walked in, he was that much like to start against me. Max was there. My mate turns around and goes, Reach. Take your meds. My entire existence is just mental.
To be fair, based.
Yeah, that and Connor's as well. Connor's quite good at that.
Good morning from lovely, sunny, possibly cloudy York. It's a lovely Sunday morning here, probably 9:15 British Standard Time, and we're on the York Athletics track here to watch some ultimate Frisbee in the outdoors arena, I guess, over here in York. I'm joined with
Nick.
Hi Nick, and Nick's a member of the what the York Frisbee team call themselves these days? Is it just the York Frisbee team?
Yeah, just the
York
York
Frisbee
Frisbee
team.
team.
So as always with Rose's fixture, this is a York versus Lancaster match. The Lancaster Frisbee team is called Lancaster Fish, so you might hear some fish-themed chants throughout this match. It's not looking like the sidelines are too busy, mainly followed by some York fans, as hopefully we can have that home advantage. But as a neutral, I'm sure it's going to be a really, really fun match with some interesting results going from the indoors yesterday. Actually, no, I believe the indoors was played on Saturday.
Yeah,
if I remember
plays on
correctly.
Saturday. Yeah.
Were you there, Nick, for the
yeah,
matches?
I was there. Yeah.
I believe that was a win for the Lancaster side in the mix
On the opens.
on the Open.
So we took both the mixed and women's.
Wonderful. Oh, did York win the?
Yeah, so we won the
Oh,
women's and the mixed one.
very interesting, very interesting. So I'm sure it's going to be a very, very content battle. Very looking forward to see what both teams have to offer here today. I hope you enjoyed your evenings last night with a very late darts win for Lancaster. At the moment, the points score is leaning the way of Lancaster, but still all to play for today in the final day of Roses 2025. The current scores on the doors is 164 points to Lancaster to York's 123. Now, there's a pretty big points margin for the last day, but I believe it's still mathematically possible. But it seems like Lancaster need only about 8 points, 8.5 points, to bring home Roses 2025. How are you feeling about that as a York player, Nick?
I mean, it kind of sucks, but I mean, ultimately we're here just to have a good time.
Ultimately, very good, Nick. Good segue. And talking of ultimate, we're into the match with the first pull by Lancaster. York playing it through the middle now. Really nice throws down on the right side. Here we go, back to Ollie Newton in the middle, number 8. Trying to find a pass through the middle. Looks like Lancaster are running a bit of a zone. They're kind of cupping, and they've got the turnover. Now, I was talking to Ben Leake, the captain of Lancaster Fish, earlier on today, and he was telling me about, I think he reckons the reason why Lancaster have been successful in their fixtures so far is due to their really strong defence, which is something they've been working on in training. They said that the team, compared to the last Roses, is very, very different. So it's quite a fresh team, very new face, haven't played a lot together. And maybe that's just showing right there as York get the second turnover of this match and regain possession. Now, it's pretty strong winds today, actually, Nick, for outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
How does this affect the players on the field?
So when it comes to strong winds, it's a little bit hard to throw the deeper hucks, and a lot of floaty throws just don't work out solely because the wind will just take it. However, I believe that the York team is quite prepared for that, given the fact that we went to nationals recently, And in Nottingham, and the wind conditions was really, really harsh, but we still managed to get the goal in the end. So
Yeah.
I'm quite confident about the skills.
So a lot of interesting results from this year in Bucks and in Nationals. York doing very, very successfully in Div 2. Lancaster sitting technically below them in Div 3, which is quite interesting. Lancaster actually won all their fixtures, but the final, I'll stop it right there, and almost a point for Lancaster Fish in that end zone there. Their number 11 couldn't quite catch it. That's possibly an example of these abnormal winds we're having today. It seems to be quite high, quite low at times, with a slight drizzle as well, which of course has an effect on the grip of the disc. Hopefully the rain stays away. We have some pretty dark clouds looming above us. Hopefully the heavens don't open, as it does make the Frisbee quite hard to play. Big huck deep from Newton, trying to find the York players. Yeah, some body blocking there, some strange defence, maybe down to a bad, unsuccessful catch there. But possession turns back over for Lancaster. But yeah, no, Lancaster won every single match in their Bucks game, but the cup final. Which obviously, it must be a low blow for them. Let's see if they can get the outdoor results now in Roses 2025. It's a really nice field here, the York Athletics track. As I said, not many spectators, but people starting to come in. As I said, very late last night, Lancaster won the darts, 11:41 to be exact, the scores were counted. And a throw into the end zone here for Lancaster, and that's the first point. And the disc is spiked in the end zone by their number 7. And I believe that was assisted by their number 56. I believe that's Ben Leake with the assist for a lovely Lancaster point. Nick, what did you see right there?
I saw basically 2 of the Lancaster players were communicating really well and decided to basically run all the way to the deep space. However, I feel that one of the York players kind of had a little slip up and misjudged where the disc was going to land, hence giving the win to Lancaster.
Yeah, that can be complicated, especially in the defence if you're doing end zone plays. If you get a good throw in the end zone, it's really hard to defend because it's unpredictable where the disc is going to go. It seems like Lancaster, as you said, probably overloaded that box,
Yeah, definitely.
end zone, that critical space. And yeah, just as we're saying that, the wind's starting to pick up a bit more drizzle. Let's see if what York can do here to respond. Now, this is an open fixture. As far as we're aware, unfortunately, there's not going to be an outdoor women's fixture today due to, I believe it's the Lancaster side not having the numbers, unfortunately. Enough to do indoors, which the York team took all the points for, and quite a impressive scoreline if you're a York supporter. But it looks like, in terms of female matching players, Lancaster just don't have enough to fill out the fixture, unfortunately. Here we go into the second point of this highly contested match. Always very competitive, isn't it, Roses, Nick?
It is so competitive. You can tell by the intensity of the players on the pitch, from both Lancaster and York. They really won. They really won the points of the match, hence why they're literally putting their all in. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you right there, but Ben Leake getting a turnover. And Lancaster regain possession again, playing it from the middle through this pivotal Ben Leake. Very tall in that centre, very good at controlling the disc. Lancaster making loads of runs, trying to find end zone again. Let's see what they can do with the disc here. It's actually the first time this year that Lancaster and York have actually played each other in Ultimate Outdoors. Obviously, they played earlier this weekend. So it's kind of anyone's game. As we said, technically York should come out on top, judging by the leagues, but it's Roses. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
anything can happen. How's your Roses been so far, Nick?
It's been pretty good. A lot of really exciting matches that I watched, especially the volleyball matches last night. Really intense. The crowd was insane. But yeah, it was a really fun weekend overall.
Hopefully York can get a few wins back to make a really entertaining last day. This might come up again now. Newton Getting some really good ground for a drop on Lancaster side. Not pulled off layout. Newton looking for a pass. Goes into the middle. Back over to Newton on the right side. A lovely pass play. Is that a jump in?
And that is a score.
That is a point for York. The Vuvuzuelas are out.
A little
And they're
cheeky
having a
jump
party.
in.
Newton commanding the troops to get back on the pitch. Saying they don't want it. Well, let's see what Lancaster respond to that. Very good play by York there. All coming down this right-hand side. Newton being the pivotal point there. Playing it around with one of the other York players, I believe, picking up the disc now. Very pivotal in that last point. Number 102.
Yep. His name is Raphael Yates. He's also the vice captain of the men's team on York Ultimate, and he's been an exceptional player and also plays for clubs such as Leeds during the weekends as well.
Leeds, obviously, take a guess where they're from, but playing, I believe, clubs. Yeah, doing very, very well. A lot of York alumni and people who play York come out of Leeds or play for Leeds post-graduation. So it's good to see one of their prospective students having a good time at Roses. But yeah, really nice play between Newton and Raphael. Newton, captain of the Open, just telling them what they want, specifically to Ollie Hart, who's joining the pitch again. Let's see what Raphael can do with this deep throw. I believe the wind's going against them. Maybe that had something to do with both points so far have been scored on the downwind. Do you think that has something to do with everything, Nick?
Yeah, it definitely affects play. It's so much easier to score when you're on downwind, given the fact that wind will basically kind of shoots the disc faster, which makes it harder for the opponent to try to intercept. However, it also makes it harder for your own teammates to catch it because of the speed as well. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, really, in Ultimate.
Yeah, as we said, the wind's blowing down towards us, down in what is now the York end zone. If you're unaware of the rules of Frisbee, the end zone switch every time a point has been scored, so it is fair. Here we go, deep throw into the end zone, and that is a catch by Lancaster. He believes to be throwing the disc on, which did confuse me a bit, but here we go, number 11 scoring for Lancaster. Very quick point. I don't think they dropped possession at all.
No, they didn't.
Very interesting. Very good play by Lancaster. Very eager to turn the points around. Now sitting at 2-1 to Lancaster.
You can definitely feel the intensity in the match, given the fact that the teams are going tit for tat for each match. There isn't any significant gap between the scores, so you can really tell they're putting their all into this match today.
Always good to see. Rose's fixture. It seems like Lancaster's having a bit of a timeout, talking about potentially some tactics. These sidelines are filling in a bit more. I think a few dreary faces from the darts last night, potentially. Hopefully none of the players are at that fixture. Who knows? It is Rose at the end of the day. It's basically Olympics, but everyone's a bit hungover. Yeah. That's how I like to think about it. But loads of other really fun fixtures going on today. I believe we have some of the volleyball, and that all can be found on Roses Live today, so make sure you tune to all the other fixtures. This is all student broadcast as well, so make sure to show your support. This is all volunteer work, so if things do go wrong, be patient. The students are trying, of course.
For those who are wondering why there's 2 women on the York team, for Ultimate Open, the open category is usually open for men. However, any players of all genders can play on the team.
There we go, Izzy with the disc in the middle. Throwing down this right hand side to Ruben. Back in the middle to Ollie. Back down to Ruben. I had the pleasure of playing with him on the York Indoors tournament earlier this year. A really, really good player. Here we go, Chloe in the middle. Again playing at the York tournament, doing very, very well. Ruben on this right side, looking for something in the end zone. Izzy making a good run. Ollie, I'm not sure what he was in.
It's been called out by the Lancaster team.
Yeah, Fisher calling out. I also think from our sideline, he was just out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Here we go, looking for something in the end zone now. Newton searching. Fake it on a bunch, and Ruben
that's a
catching it.
score.
Really good point there for York. Ruben managed to get away from his mark.
I think current score is 2.
2-2. It's all tied up here. Again, all 4 points being scored on the downwind. If you're unaware of the rules of Frisbee, outdoors is 7-a-side. Obviously, this being the first outdoors fixture of Roses 2025. You might have been watching the indoors fixtures, which is 5-a-side. Very different play style. Outdoors to indoors, Nick.
It's a little bit more slower pace because you really want to basically give the best options to your team so they don't fumble the disc, because it can get it's quite easy to fumble, especially indoors given the weather, the cold, and just that. The rules in Ultimate Outdoors is almost the same as indoors, but there's some slight deviation to it. For example, if during a pull, if the opponent player drops it, that is an immediate turnover. So hence, you try not to catch the disc during the pull. However, but there are times that you actually do it, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it's very, very different game, outdoors to indoors. You get a lot of Frisbee players are very much outdoor fanatics and very opposed to the indoor game. And I've yet to find people who are the other way around. I personally prefer indoors. It's my personal preference. But here we go, York trying to get pull off. It is very difficult when you're going against the wind, but they managed to get a decent roll on that. Seems to be now in the Lancaster fish half. Lancaster playing with the advantage with the wind now. See what they can do with this disc. Playing it fast down the left-hand side. A lot of 1-2, 1-2 there. Lancaster been very loud on the sidelines. Can they encourage their team to go forward? I believe it's Ben Leake looking for a pass into the middle. Fumbled, unfortunately, by Lancaster. York get the turnover. Could this be a turning point in the match where York get a point ahead? Raphael taking his time, keeping it chilly, walking towards this centre. Looks like York are playing a vert stack, cutting from the back. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. Oh, deep into... Well, not quite into the end zone. It's rolling into the end zone, but obviously...
It's good yards, good yards.
It's good yards. Good yards for York. Ollie shouting, showing that we won a national. Obviously winning Div 2. Winning Div 2 nationals.
Div 2, yes, exactly.
That's absolutely amazing. And where was that this year?
So that was in Nottingham.
Nottingham. Who was in the final with them?
Birmingham.
Birmingham,
yeah.
Really great victory for York. Really good to bring home a bit of silverware, as always. Fortunately, with Roses, you're not going to get any silverware for a single match other than the major fixtures. Here we go, deep throw into the end zone by Lancaster. Really good defence by Raphael, really good defence. Now it's interesting, obviously you can't walk with the disc in Frisbee. When Raphael obviously blocks the scare, he's walking to the end zone line. Why is that, Nick?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Absolutely fine. So when the disc is put out of play in the end zone, it can be taken to the end zone line unless it's right to the back, past the back of the end zone. So that's why he's walking with the disc there.
Yeah.
Same goes for the sidelines. It has to return to the point where technically it's an in-play position on the pitch. Here we go. Lancaster with the possession after another turnover down this left-hand side. Lovely throw. Lancaster player get away from the York mark. Can they find a pass into the end zone now? And they managed to find it. Number 19 for Lancaster getting the score. 3-2. The points are being traded here, Nick. Is there any way for York to break through?
Ooh, I mean, my experience I don't have that much experience playing Frisbee. However, from my personal experience, usually playing it by a more slower pace usually gets the win. Given the fact that when you're playing a slower pace, you basically get to do more critical throws, a little bit more thinking, not too hasty. So yeah, so hopefully I think York should be able to do that, given the fact that we have done that quite a lot during nationals, especially during higher pressure games.
And if you're Ollie Newton, the York captain, right now, what would you be saying to your team? Go on, give us an inspirational talk, Nick.
Just keep your heads up, guys. Keep your heads up. Keep it up. I mean, I can't do a good motivation speech as good as Ollie Newton because he's literally the best.
Yeah, Ollie does give some very passionate speeches. I think you'd also struggle next to your own red Crocs.
I know.
As a York player, that's blasphemous. If you're unaware and only just tuning into Roses now, number one, where have you been? Number two, you might notice that everyone playing for York is playing in white and Lancaster's all playing in red. Obviously, this is why it's called the Roses. It's between the red and the white Roses. Based upon the historical battle. We're hopefully not going to see any of that historic battle on the pitch. Hopefully that stays in the words rather than the actions. But hopefully we see the same type of passion as Lancaster. To a ball which rolls into the end zone. It's kind of all you can really do with the wind against you. Very much the tactic. Here we go. Chloe in the centre now, looking for a pass. Ollie, nice cut down on this right hand side. Looking for a pass. York trying to keep this vert stack going. Ruben on the right hand side. Newton back with possession. Can he find anyone? And he does. Again, training down this right hand side. York really working that. Almost a fumble. But it is.
Great catch.
Well. Bit of a fumble, but still caught by York. York need to be doing some cuts, and unfortunately that's a drop there. Maybe something to do with the slight drizzle on the pitch. Has to do with a bit of a wet disc.
Yeah, and the weather's quite cold as well, so your hands tend to freeze up.
Yeah.
It's really hard to catch a disc.
I mean, this is just why I hate outdoors. I'm very, very glad I'm standing over here and not on that pitch. I would not want to be out here at 9:15 playing some outdoor Frisbee, especially after the night I'd probably have the night before. Here we go, Lancaster playing on his left-hand side, number 99 now on the disc. Back to Benelique in the middle, looking for a pass. A lot of options. Looks like York is
doing his own defense.
Zone defense. Well, they're not really given much else because Lancaster seems to have a very obscure offensive play. Hammer throw, deep. And a touch and a turnover for York. Really good there. I thought Lancaster were going to get the mac on from that. Let's see what they can do now with the downwind. Newton, deep throw into the end zone. Oh, unfortunately not caught by the York player. Number 7 for Lancaster, making sure that doesn't get reached. Maybe York could have been a bit more brutal there. Maybe threw the body into a bit more, but never know. Oh, bit of an obscure throw there by the number 7. He seems to be a bit upset with that. Understandably, it's a turnover for York right outside the end zone. What can York do here?
So most likely, from our trainings, from what I've seen, they're probably going to do an isolation tactic. So basically, whoever is in front of the stack will be the only one moving. If that person just doesn't get it, hence the rest of the stack will try to move and try to get a disc.
Very good. Looks like that vert stack's coming out again. Newton looking for someone in the end zone. Little throw to Izzy.
Yes.
And that's a point for York, equaling the points total to 3-all.
Yes. This is why the isolation stack in the end zone is quite important, because it's really, really, really high pressure. Anything could happen, and you really just want to basically do your role well so that the other players can basically come and catch the disc if they can. And
that's a really good point there. Assist by Ollie Newton. Caught in the end zone by York's very own.
Izzy.
16, sorry, I'm trying to get a number. Number 16, Izzy. Is it 16? God, my eyes are bad. Here we go. Who's playing again? Lancaster York. Okay, here we go. Roses 2025. And it's currently 3-all. All tied. Wind's starting to die down a bit. Very dramatic weather here today. It's like the Weather Channel. Not usually are we reporting the weather as heavily as this, but with a game like Ultimate, it's very important and very influential to the game. I remember in my heyday playing Bucks games when you're on a isolated field in Sheffield and the wind is pelting at you.
It could really be...
Really ruins your day.
Yeah.
Really ruins your day.
With games like Frisbee, the weather is literally a make or break situations. It could really be the so determining factor whether or not you get the win.
It's why it's so important. So essentially what York needs to do here to get ahead is to get a turnover on this next play, potentially at some point. So usually how Frisbee go would be trading a point, and it's all about if you could get a turnover and score from that turnover, And when you're playing against a wind this
Yeah.
strong, that can be really, really complicated. So
If York keeps the defense quite tight as well, it kind of forces the Lancaster players to make quite a hasty throw, which can ultimately end in a turnover, which will be good for York.
Lancaster show their colours here. A lot of red on the sideline. Yeah, people starting to trickle into the stands now.
For those who are wondering why isn't there a referee on the Ultimate pitch, Ultimate is quite an interesting game where it's basically a self-referee game, and basically players get to make all the calls and also kind of discuss it. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting sport, hence why the players kind of need to know the rules a little bit more so that they can actually discuss the calls well.
And that's all discussed between the two players involved, and if needed they can call from the opinion of the sideline with a raised hand. Oh, a Lancaster player goes down in the end zone. Very interesting there. Talking of spirit calls, one might be called there against Ollie Hart potentially, but it looks like the Lancaster player is happy with the resolution. And possession goes back to York with Ollie Newton walking to the end zone. That self-refereed part of the game is so, so important. At the end of the match, you might see all the players get into a circle. This is called a spirit talk, to talk about the how the spirit was in the game. And at a tournament or bigger competition, spirit is a massive part, and prizes are usually given out to the teams with the best spirit. So it's a very common thing in the game, and also potentially a reason why Frisbee isn't in the Olympics. The fact it's self-refereed, it's been spoken about before. Really great defence there by Ollie Newton in the end zone, denying Lancaster from getting a point. Now, can York switch on the offence now? Throwing it through the middle.
Looks like Lancaster's doing his own defense as well, trying to basically pressure this to be forced into the choke hole.
Ollie Hart with quite a strong throw back towards Ollie Newton. Definitely was expecting that, and Ollie, unfortunately, throwing it directly to, I think that's Raphael.
Yeah.
102 on this left-hand side. Sorry, on this right-hand side from Lancaster's perspective. And unfortunately getting the drop. Switching possession back over to Lancaster Fish. With a hammer into the end zone. Unfortunately not being able to be caught by number 84. Oh, I believe a spirit is being called here, Nick.
Ooh. So as you can see, the two players in the end zone are basically doing all the discussions, and the other players who might have a different point of view will basically put their hands up. But however, they can't say anything until the two players involved ask for one of their opinions, and that's how the spirit call works in Ultimate Frisbee.
As you can see, multiple players on the sideline and on the pitch are raising their hand. And in a professional competition, they might even call for the opinion of the broadcasting to do a playback. Hopefully, they don't call upon that, because I don't believe our replay abilities are that fantastic. So that result will have to become a bit later than it will probably be in a professional broadcast.
Yeah. Looks like the wind has definitely picked up a little bit, so it might affect the throws from York.
Apologies for possibly some of the bad language being picked up by the microphones, pitch sides, from some quite crude Lancaster responses to the York chant, which I'm sure is going to be heard a lot over this weekend. And might be heard a lot later on today, unfortunately, if you're a York fan. Ollie Hart, obscure hammer, which unfortunately lands in his own end zone, which turns possession back over to Lancaster. This is the same position York was on this last point. Again, still tied 3-3. York have done very well defensively. This seems to be one of the longest points in the match so far. So kudos to York's defence here. Let's see if they can hold up for one more peppering into this end zone, which seems to be the kind of the story of the match so far. Very fortunate for us for where we're standing as the commentary team, as we get a pretty clear view. And just like that, Lancaster score again, number 84, spiking the disc in the end zone, throwing it down, making it 4-3 to Lancaster as they gain advantage. What do you think of that point there, Nick?
I think that was a really good point. Basically, the York strat was trying to choke the first, the cutter who was in the first of the line. However, with that strike, you have some open sides as well. So basically, any of the Lancaster player can basically just crash in and catch a disc, which that is exactly what has happened.
Here we go. Lancaster have another one there. Sideline chats, another little timeout, I believe. Maybe not officially called as a timeout. York eager to get back on that line. Seems like Lancaster having a lot of these chats, especially when they're going into defence. Speaking to the captain before the match, seems to be something they've been heavily working on this year, something they've been very proud of, something that they believe has led to their success. Unfortunately, not in that cup final, but nonetheless, they've won all their fixtures in bucks. So, you know, we'll have to see if this plays out in this game here. 4-3 to Lancaster. Can York get a point back and make it level again? It's really, really quite hard being trailing in points in a fixture like this where it's trading, because there's a lot of pressure on you to score. Obviously, Lancaster very eager to. They get a turnover here. It's a 2-point advantage, and that's really hard to come back from.
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure here for York, especially these kind of mid to late stages of the game.
Yeah.
Here we go, Chloe, I believe, on this left-hand side. Unfortunately, that's a bad turnover position there for York. Let's see what they can do, switching quickly to defence. Lancaster taking their time, a long stroll over. Maybe a bit of miscommunication there, not knowing who's going to be picking up. So number 11 in the middle, looking for a pass.
Looks like York is doing a zone defence.
Very fortunate to York, that's gone out of play. Another switch of possession. Maybe Lancaster could have done a bit more with the disc there, maybe hold up for a bit longer, stalled a bit more time.
Exactly, yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm sure that ruffled a few feathers in the York camp. Newton with a throw into the middle. Let's see if they can catch it. Snatched by the York player. I think, again, a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure who's going to catch that there. Chloe in the middle, looking for a pass. Lovely little spin move back to Newton. Lovely throw. Over to York player, not quite caught there.
Unfortunately, the wind just managed to push it down a little bit too early before the York player could actually catch it.
Oh, that's a bad drop there for a Lancaster perspective. Obviously, thrilling for a York team.
And that's a score for York.
Again, spiked to the end zone there by none other than the 103 player from York.
I think the current score is
4-all. All level once again. York once again levelling that points tally. I'm sure they're glad, maybe a bit scared from that earlier drop up higher up the pitch.
I feel that York's zone defense is quite good. They put a lot of pressure on the Lancaster team. I mean, we've been training that zone defense for a few months now, since the beginning of this year. Hence, you can really see it really pulling it off in roses.
And York now returning the favour. Lancaster seem to be joining them when it comes to doing these team talks. York huddling, maybe. Is that for warmth, Nick? Do you think with this?
From my personal experience, it's mostly kind of for that as well. It's really cool. It's really hard to play when you're shivering. You're shivering on the pitch.
Lancaster not opting for the same. Bit more of a looser, open team talk. I wish we could have a microphone and see what's going on in there. I wonder. I'm sure both teams kind of saying similar things along the lines. Maybe York having a bit more of a defensive mind. Obviously, you want to get turnover here to get ahead, because the points are tallying in the advantage of Lancaster for how this match started, with Lancaster with the offense first with the downwind.
I assume Ollie Newton's going to give his infamous positive talk, full-on positivity, no negativity. We can do this type of pep talk, which if you're a player on the team is really helpful. It really gets your spirits up, and kind of helps you actually win some points actually.
And Lancaster, I'm sure their captain Ben saying the same thing, trying to rally the troops. Get them line up again.
Looks like a few spectators on the seats next to the field, probably trying to hide away from the cold and the wind, which I don't blame them.
Very, very early here on the last day of Roses, which I'm sure has been just as entertaining as years prior. And I believe if Lancaster do win this, is it 4 years on the trot for a Lancaster win? Fourth Lancaster win in the row, and that's I believe is the one of the longest runs of victories in Roses history. Unfortunately, making Lancaster have the overall total advantage. And as some of you may know, Roses has been going on for a long time now, I believe over 50 years. Very, very competitive competition. Lancaster getting a catch with pretty open York defence. Can they get back now? Number 11, with the disc just outside the end zone, looking for a pass in there. With his arms up, number 99, getting the disc. Some deep cuts in the end zone. What can Lancaster do? Can they clear it out? And the wind, unfortunately, takes it just over, landing in the end zone, but no Lancaster player there to catch it.
Yeah, it's usually the risk of these more floaty, higher throws. It's just that sometimes the wind will just pick it up and just send it off course, and it really makes it really hard for both the offense and defense player to basically kind of read the disc.
Here we go, Newton. Now this is quite a intense area here to be handling from, because obviously dealing with this very tight cup defense from Lancaster. It seems to be a bit cup-like, and obviously if you drop it here, it's pretty much danger zone. Kind of a hammer throw, almost a bit bladey, over to the right hand side to Raphael. Back in the middle to Newton. Raphael, Newton again. Newton playing it down this left hand side from the York perspective.
Given the Lancaster defense, there's really only like two ways you can basically kind of win through the defense.
Can York break through here? This would be a massive moment in the match to get forward. That is a score for York. Here we go. They've turned the tides. It's now 5-4 to York. That's a massive point for York here, Nick.
Yeah, with the 1 point in the lead, it can really boost their morale and basically get them to fight harder, as you can hear from the Yorkshire chants on the sideline. But I had to give it up to Lancaster. Their zone defense was really good, basically choking whoever's handling the disc and basically forcing the York team to only make two viable options. It's either to crash into the defense or to basically make a very risky overhead huck to another player, which Ollie Newton did, and it worked out.
And there we go, 5-4 in advantage of York. Now they also have the wind advantage as well now. They're throwing downwind, which also switches around which way the pools are going to be. So a deeper pool here, which is a throw that players do at the start of a point. Lancaster trying to get the crowd to be cheering, but unfortunately with the home advantage, maybe that's something to do with it. But Lancaster unfortunately not quite doing in defence that they'd probably want on that last point. Unfortunately not being able to turn over and get the point and keep the tally going in the way of their advantage. So let's see what they do here. I'm sure they're going to come out all guns blazing. And the hand is raised and the pool is thrown down the pitch deep, just outside the end zone. Really good pull from York's perspective. What can Lancaster do now? Playing down the middle.
Looks like York is pulling off his own defense.
Oh!
Trying to choke their handler to make a risky throw.
Almost a bit of a layout there from number 99. Still has a disc now again. Looking for a throw. Loud stall counts there by the York side. Really putting on the pressure. Number 11, back to 99. This deep left-hand side. Number 11 playing it really tight, obviously with this wind, very important. Get those safety throws off. Lancaster doing well to try and work it up. Can they find a way through? 84 now for Lancaster. Basically passing it between them. 84 in the middle. Looking for something. A lot of options. And that's Newton with a really good D. Smacking it down. Not letting the disc roll at all. Newton picking up once again. It's Raphael. Lancaster plays shouting from the end zone.
And that's a score for York.
Newton with the points. He's been influential in this match, pretty much in the majority of the points. And that brings the score up to 6-4 for York. They get the 2-point advantage. Now, how big is that in an outdoor match, Nick?
That is so important, especially if you're on the winning team, because it basically gives you a leeway, just in case that one of the matches, especially if you're playing against upwind, you at least have that one point for you to handle with. However, it basically pressures a lot on Lancaster as well, because they basically have to catch up quite a bit.
No, York, I'm sure, pretty eager to get the... I think Raphael anxiously standing with the disc, wanted to do the pull because the wind has kind of died down a bit here. But Ollie Newton giving his pep talk. Lancaster having another big kind of team talk. Be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to hear more than what they're trying to say to rally the troops to get them going, because this is quite an important point in the match. We're getting in the later half, more the business side of this match now. Not a lot of time to play with now for Lancaster.
Both teams,
wanting to turn it all around. Both teams eager.
both teams have to be more clinical in terms of their throws, in terms of their strategies as well, as is the later, basically kind of like the later half of the match now, which is really, really important.
Yeah, Raphael trying to get this disc in the air, raising his hand. Unfortunately, in indoors, you can kind of call 10 and they have 10 seconds before they can play if the one team's ready. But seems like Lancaster are ready now. There we go. Rolly little pool there. Lancaster stopping that. Not letting it go deeper into, well, deeper towards their end zone. York kind of standing off a bit. Throw to this far left-hand side for Lancaster. Number 46 with the disc again, rocking the amazing moustache. Hopefully that's keeping his face warm today. He's going to need it. Here we go, 99 in the middle. Looking for a pass. Throw deep. Unfortunately not caught by the Lancaster side. York get possession once again. Raphael to pick up. Ollie Hart making some early cuts. Oh! What a catch there.
What a recover by the York team as well.
Unfortunately not picked up the first time, but slid to catch it once again. That is takes some dedication. Hopefully York not want to make that mistake once again. A deep throw down. And a big D there from Lancaster to switch session once again. Very highly intense point this. It's kind of went off with a bang. Lancaster not rushing to the disc. Taking their time. Again, seems like York playing.
Looks like York's
match.
a little bit more poachy.
And another turn there by Lewis. It seems like there's going to be a
It looks like there's been a strip call being made by one of the Lancaster players.
And what is a strip call, Nick?
So basically, a strip call is basically when a player who catches this feels that they basically had possession of this, but the opponent basically kind of stripped it from their hands, and they basically get to call a strip call. However, it looks like it's been resolved quite quickly, and he went and goes back to Lancaster. However, it just didn't make the shot into the pit, into the end zone.
Yeah, deep hammer that goes just over the end zone, unable not being able to be caught by any Lancaster side. York taking their time.
Checking it is whether or not it is badly damaged by that throw.
Lancaster, I believe, very eager to turn this disc over. So the 4 players waiting for the disc to come back. They're actually looking now to see if the disc dented. Seems like the captain, Ben Leake's going to have a look. And they're deemed that disc is unfit to be played with. So they're going to switch other discs now. This can be quite common, especially with a few spikes in the end zone, possibly causing a bit of denting. Obviously, all in good spirit of the game. I'm sure nothing too brutal. Yeah, little cup defense. The Lancaster side waiting for Raphael to come back. Big arm stretched out. Raphael kind of does what he can, just throws it deep. Unfortunately, it's looping back round towards the York side and actually caught by Ollie Newton. But obviously, he's not on the pitch at the moment, so it's going to go out for a Lancaster possession.
I've seen Lancaster during this match played a few of the cup defense during this match, and it worked quite well. Basically, kind of pressurized whoever's the thrower to make a really risky floaty throw.
And possession switch once again as that throw from the far side from our cameras.
Looks like it's back to a normal arrowhead zone defense by Lancaster.
And York have possession once again. I believe that's Ollie Hart. Unfortunately, doesn't get the first catch, but catches it once again by the York player. A few times that's happened this match, and God. Unfortunately, what a shame. After such a good recovery, a good catch, it's unfortunately a bit of a wasteful throw into the centre, and Lancaster get possession once again. What can Fish do here now? You might hear some of the Fish chants.
You can really tell that the pressure of this match is really getting to them. You can basically see them making some of these small little mistakes in terms of their throws, in terms of their catches.
I'm sure York's going to want to possibly get a 3-point advantage here. It'd be such a shame if Lancaster can't get a point. It's kind of their last hope. Obviously, they're fighting for 2 points down. And a deep hammer into the end zone. Bit unexpected there from Lancaster's perspective. And York catch once again.
For York.
And Lewis catches it in the end zone for York score. Big hugs. They are absolutely thrilled with that point.
I think the current score is 7-4 to York.
7-4 to York, you are right, Nick. And
Yeah,
York
that's
take
yeah.
3-point advantage in this highly contested fixture. And this could secure 4 more points for York in the overall points tally. That's huge. That's huge for an outdoor match.
I think Lancaster's feeling a little bit uncomfortable with that 3-point gap because that's really, really hard to catch up, especially in Ultimate Frisbee. So they really, if they want any chance of winning this match, they really, really have to hustle for that disc. Basically, run for the disc, run their sprint their every cut, just so that they can basically, catch up with the York players.
And that's another windbreak point for York. That's very influential. Obviously, going against the way of the wind to get 2 points in this match is no easy feat. So, massive credit to York's offense. I think they've done very well to switch around, but maybe Lancaster could have done a bit better defensively there. Obviously, that's up for debate, but I'm sure they're going to want to do anything they can to get back into this match. As the York have a deep throw once again with the wind in their advantage. What can Lancaster do now? Obviously, playing these short throws, trying to play with the environment they're playing within.
Looks like York is doing another zone defense again.
The last thing they want to do now is get a turnover in York's advantage. If you're a Lancaster fan, trying to find a pass now, number 95. Back to Ben. Ben unfortunately dropping it, and it is unfortunately a turnover.
Yeah, there's one of the risks of doing a crash through strat to basically try to fight against the zone defense is that you can basically fumble the disc quite easily.
And York now have the disc outside the end zone. Can they find someone there? Number 23 for York looking for it. Newton on the outside with a nice throw. Can it be caught now? It's just over the head of number 30 for York with the red gloves. Quite controversial from a York player's perspective. Wearing red on the Day of Roses, obviously that's quite obscure. I'm sure very glad to be wearing the gloves today. It is very bitter, trying to warm my hands myself.
It's really cold. It's really cold today.
Number 30 for York seems to be the only player on the pitch wearing gloves. Hopefully that's helping out with the catching. York now having to play a bit of defensive work. Lancaster playing it very quickly through the middle. And we get a lot more drizzle now.
Unfortunately, there's been a drop by Lancaster.
And possession goes back to York. Newton in the middle now, looking for people in the end zone once again. Can this be a 4-point advantage?
And that's a score for York. Current score is 8-4.
8-4 to York. An amazing turnaround in this match. Trailing it multiple times. It seems like we're going to have to be wiping our cameras here. Apologies if you saw that on stream. It is drizzling down. And as always, camera equipment and rain don't mix very well.
The weather's getting a little bit wetter, a little bit colder. And the future plays are going to be a little bit more, could be quite risky. The fact that it's much harder to catch the disc now. For it being wet and so your hands freezing up from the weather.
And both teams heading to the sideline.
That was a really, really intense match.
That one corner at Baku.
Here we go. Players joining the pitch once again. I believe a lot of the players grabbing their jumpers.
It's really important to stay warm, especially on the sidelines.
Yeah.
You don't want to be running in the field while your muscles are literally freezing up.
Hopefully this rain again. A lot of loomy clouds over our heads. Hopefully this doesn't stick up for the whole day of Roses. Fortunately, a lot of indoor fixtures and a lot of action to catch up on today. So make sure you tune in again for Roses Live.
Currently seeing the teams kind of having a little pep talk session right now. Hopefully trying to keep their heads up, keep their spirits high, and overall just also like reminding themselves that Ultimate Frisbee ultimately is still a really, really fun game, and you should be having fun on the pitch at the end.
And both teams having a huddled team talk. Obviously Lancaster opted for that again now because of the temperature. Wanted to feel the bit of heat. A lot of other really interesting fixtures coming up today, and a lot of fixtures going on at the moment on Roses Live, so make sure you check out the website and see what's going on. We have Bavington starting today at 8:30, nice bright and early, especially if you're at the darts last night. Volleyball open second, that also started at 8:30 this morning. Ultimate Frisbee 9:15, and Korfball going on in the main hall, the York Sport Arena, that's at York Sports Centre. Quiz Bowl opening up at York, exhibition fixture. That's at 9:30. Obviously, no points total for Korfball either, as it's also an exhibition fixture. Snooker is going off in the Castle Snooker Club at 10 o'clock today. Tabletop gaming as well. That's also an exhibition fixture.
And if you can't get enough of Ultimate Frisbee, we still have one more match this afternoon at 12:45, which will be the outdoor mix fixture.
I'm sure going to be very highly contested. We're going to see a lot of the same players playing this open category play once again in the mixed. And yeah, both teams taking their time now. York's lined up on the front line of the end zone, waiting for Lancaster. Here we go. Fish. There we go, chanting. Their signature chant. Do you know why they're called fish, Nick? Do you have any? Every year I ask the same question, and I never know.
Have no idea. But the York team basically said that it gives them quite a lot of inspiration for their signs. A lot of creative signs on the sidelines.
Yeah, apologies if any of the cameras pick up the creative signs on the sidelines. It's all in good spirit of the game, obviously. Good spirit of the Roses. Who doesn't love a competitive competition? Lancaster seems to be ready now to walk out on the pitch. Obviously, we might see this fixture once again happen at Fishbowl, which is the quite aptly named Lancaster competition. Also later on today we have, cricket. It's just started at 10 o'clock. And the pole exercise as well. It's also worth 4 points.
Looks like Ollie Newton on the York team is currently having the pull. And there's an amazing pull as usual. Goes all the way back to the end zone, which is quite crucial for York. It gives them some space to work with.
And a lovely layout catch in the end zone there. On number 99 with a little hammer over. This is danger territory because if this is caught by a York player, it does count as a point to them.
And that's called a Callahan.
And yeah, God, it is, I must say, a bit embarrassing if you do concede to a Callahan. I'm sure if this does happen, it won't ever be forgotten about. Here we go. Oh, looks like there might be a bit of a spirit call here. Oh.
It looks like it's an injury call.
And the player's going to be replaced on the pitch. Number 11 coming off for number 46, and he's down on the floor. Maybe it's something to do with the legs. Didn't quite see what happened there. But he was very quick to get off the pitch, and it seems like the shoe's going to come off, so hopefully he's doing all right. Chloe now on the right-hand side, number 57. Signature kind of pivot turn, creating the open space to throw into very, very fast.
Lancaster doing a really good job trying to basically tight matching the York players, which puts a lot of pressure on them, so hence forcing the York players to sprint harder for their cut.
Hammer in the end zone for a lovely score for York by number 10. A lovely assist there.
And that's 9-4 to York.
A massive advantage play here for York, and the sun's just starting to come out. The Voodoo Swalers are hopefully being caught up on the stream. They are insanely loud. And I'm sure the York players are feeling the love. They seem to be pumped.
They do.
What a fixture we have here, Nick. York's really turned it around from this first half of this match.
Yeah, I genuinely think that given the fact that the men's indoors, the opens indoors yesterday, they kind of lost a little bit to Lancaster. Hence, I think they're just like a fire in them to basically try to win back the scores, and also kind of like defending their goal title.
Yeah.
For Division 2.
I guess so. And Ollie Newton again, like talking to the team and letting them know. I'm guessing what he's saying is, just keep doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there to say? Just keep playing good. A few of the York players waving. Nick on the commentary team. They're thrilled.
Yeah.
How did that feel for you, Nick?
I feel great.
I feel great.
I feel loved. I feel welcome.
You feel seen. I wonder if the Lancaster players would do the same to me. I don't know if they'd. Hi guys. No, they can't see me. It's very far away.
If you look closely on the sideline, you might see a little LeBron sign. That was basically our infamous chant during Nationals, and may or may not secured as a gold.
Wow. Right, here we go. Lancaster on the offense. The wind has died down a bit as you might see in the background some more of the Lancaster coaches arriving for today's fixtures. And a big D there, I believe by Ollie Hart, and I think that
might be a call on it.
Might be a call. Seems like this number 7 Lancaster side's been involved with a lot of this spirit calls.
It
but
looks,
nothing's been going on for too long.
And
hopefully this gets resolved quickly like all the other ones have, and successfully as the sun's been coming out.
It looks like it's either a foul or strip call being made. However, I couldn't see the call sign clearly. But I believe that the players will discuss it maturely and also do it well spirited as well. And that's basically the beauty of this game.
Yeah, it's self-refereed.
For those who are still new to the sport of ultimate frisbee is a non-referee and non-contact sport. So basically, players get to make all the calls, discussing about it. However, when asked, they could ask any other players for any insights or even a sideline. Looks like possession goes back to Lancaster.
Here we go. What can they do here? Lancaster trying to get back with the points now. Let's see what they can do here. Quite complicated scenario to be in. What would you be saying if you were Ben Leek, the Lancaster captain?
Ooh, I'll just be like, guy, just keep your heads up, spin your cut, work harder than the York team.
And a
that's how you're
deep
gonna
throw
score.
into the end zone. And that seems to be caught and retrieved by the York side.
Number 102, Raphael Yates.
Probably be seeing him in Yates later tonight, probably. Hopefully celebrating 2 York wins.
Looks like there's an injury call by the York team, and
that's Ollie Hart coming off, switching on for Ollie Newton. Sorry, switching off for Ollie Newton. Shall I say the Ollies are
the Ollies, yes.
the Ollie rotation. Ollie Hart, very notorious for his big layouts and big commitments and big bids for the disc.
Yeah. If you've ever seen Ollie Hart playing on any frisbee matches, you will definitely see a layout.
And that's a turnover for Lancaster. Bit of a danger zone now for York. What can they do now on the defense? Trying to defend. Obviously, Lancaster very eager to get the disc at the end zone and score to try and turn it around. Here we go. Ben Leake, number 56, trying to look for people in the end zone. Lancaster turning up the heat now, trying to find someone in the end zone. And it's a throw there, and a lovely catch, number 21. And Lancaster very eager to turn his disc around. Or trying to get back on the touchline again, but oh no. Looks like they're going to be switching around the lineup. And York, yeah, taking their sweet time. And that brings a score to
9-5.
9-5. Lancaster get the first point in a while. Is this a sign of a comeback? Who knows? Obviously scoring with the wins, which is normal, for an outdoors match, and kind of is expected. Again, having their team talks. Obviously, got to be a bit cautious of the time here. Obviously, a lot of these team talks taking up a lot of minutes on the clock, and they haven't got a lot of time to play with now. And yeah, big yells there from Lancaster side. I'm sure they want to keep these talks to a minimum and focus on the time on the pitch. York already lined up and ready. 7 players. Tell you what, the sidelines do a good job holding up these sides. It's a bit complicated in the wind. Just realised. Lancaster trying to rally the sidelines. Number 7 very vocal.
However, I can still hear the York chants as loud as ever.
And here we go. York on the offense now. Can they respond to that recent score with I want to extend their advantage?
Yep.
Lovely throw deep on the far side. Trying to find just outside the end zone there for York. Trying to find someone in the end zone now. Throw to Raphael, can't quite catch it. Maybe could have laid there. I think if he went horizontal, probably could have caught that. Obviously not trying to overextend himself. Injury is a big factor, and still another match I'm sure Raphael is going to be involved with later on today.
York's doing the classic zone defense.
And a big grab there by Raphael, again involved, and that's another little spirit call. See if it can get resolved between the 2 players, number 4 and Raphael on the York side.
It looks like it's either another strip of foul call. So currently the 2 players who are involved in the play are currently discussing it out, and maybe probably asking insights from the other players on the pitch.
And if you're only just joining us now, welcome to Ultimate Frisbee. It's Rose's Day 3 here at the York Sport Arena. We're on the athletics track for Ultimate Frisbee Outdoor Open. And Lancaster just drops this there to turn possession into York. York are currently leading 9-5. Can they extend this advantage to double the Lancaster points? York playing the blue shoes here now, playing it down to the close side to Raphael, just outside the end zone, looking for someone in the end zone now. to Ollie Newton, who catches it. Well, a lovely little play there by York. Lovely to switch around from the drop.
Lovely change of direction as well.
Newton once again being involved in that point scoring, getting up his tally. I believe that's three or 4 points for Newton. Doing very, very well. I'm sure if we ask him at the end of the match, he'll definitely know the points that he's scored. Takes great pride in his work, and yeah, that's a really good score there for York, making it 10-5. This is quite an astounding lead from York. Obviously, this is all worth 4 points in the points tally, which would be huge for Lancaster if they did win, as it would half the amount of points needed for Lancaster to take Roses home, and that which actually could work out to be the deciding match for Roses 2025 if they did win. But looks like it's going in York's way as they're clawing back 4 points in the overall points tally. Obviously, this is all leading for our biggest fixture tonight, for the big grand finale of women's rugby played on 22 acres later on tonight. So make sure you tune in live on Roses Live for LA1 and YSTV, as well as Bellrig FM and URY's coverage of the women's rugby, the penultimate fixture of Roses before we get the closing ceremony, which at the moment is looking like it's going to be a red ribbon going onto that Roses trophy, unfortunately, if you're a York fan. York with a deep throw into the end zone. Seems to be quite good, actually, getting that rolls off. But Lancaster also still stopping it, making sure it's not going any further. Lovely kind of laser-like throw. Unfortunately, being not quite received well. Looks like number 11's managed to make his way back onto the pitch after earlier coming off for an injury. But
Great cut by number 32 right there.
Looking like he's feeling a lot better. Unfortunate drop for York. Can Lancaster quickly turn around? Obviously, wants to get forward. Number 7 for Lancaster looking around, trying to see if anyone's going to be running for him to throw. Maybe a bit of miscommunication there. Lancaster play with his disc, playing down the close side, looking for something in the end zone. Number 11 playing it back into the centre. York saying no round, no round. Making sure the marking stays tight. Lancaster kind of frantically running around. Gonna be caught in the end zone. Oh, the bid was there, but the catch just wasn't. Unfortunately, the wind kind of carried that dish just away from him, didn't it, Nick?
It was a great attempt by Lancaster as well.
That's a 10-minute call on the sideline, 10 minutes left. And it looks like there's going to be an injury here to switch over players. Number 19 with that fantastic bid, exiting the pitch.
There's been quite a few injury calls from both the York and Lancaster team. Just shows how committed they are, how committed they're going to win.
Also, possibly has something to do with the pitch conditions. Obviously, it's been quite bright, quite sunny in York, which obviously makes the pitch a bit firm, and obviously now the pitch wetting up, it makes for a very complicated playing scenario. I believe this is actually sand covered turf as well, which is a big difference. It's actually a really nice pitch to play on for Frisbee. That Lancaster player going down on the sideline doesn't look like he's not shouting out for medical attention, which is a good sign, but still taking his time. Hopefully we can see him playing later on. Deep throw, fortunate enough to get no wind on that. Just really unlucky.
Fortunately, it looks like it's been misread by one of the York players.
Yeah, number 38 giving a big thumbs up back to Ollie Newton, letting him know that maybe that wasn't necessarily his fault. Maybe not a particularly great bid there from the York player for that catch. Maybe a bit understood what the disc was doing. Lancaster now playing down on this far side, and again another drop, unfortunately. I feel like that's probably been one of the deciding factors in this, is the turnarounds. York being able to capitalise a lot on them. Maybe Lancaster dropping a lot in compromising positions, but I mean, all credits where credit's due. York's done very well turning the game around. So, especially on those switchovers like they're doing now, and a throw near the end zone. Unfortunately, not quite catch, kind of going through the hands of number 3 for York. Let's see what they can do here now, Lancaster. Obviously, trailing by quite a significant margin. Obviously doing very well indoors 2 days ago. York rushing back on defence. Lancaster having it kind of in their own half, looking to work it forward.
Looks
And
like
a
there might be a
deep
deep
throw.
throw.
1-on-1 and caught by Raphael in the end zone. Maybe a bit of frustration there by, yeah, maybe a bit of frustration there by the Lancaster side. Maybe no need to be that hasty. 10 minutes is at the end of the day, it's still a lot of time, but if you're going to equate it to points, they're going to score once every 2 minutes, which obviously in outdoors is quite a lot of time. There's a lot of space in outdoors game to stall. Now there's probably a call there that hit the floor before going into Ollie Newton's hands. Let's see if that gets resolved. Seems to be uncontested, and possession switches back to Lancaster. Really need to score now to put the pressure onto York. Unfortunately, it's looking like time might be up for this Lancaster side. We just have to wait and see.
Fortunately, there was a misconnection right there by the Lancaster team. Just couldn't get their disc in time.
Now playing on the far side, Raphael with a disc, number 102. Playing it back in safe hands. Man with the red gloves. And Lancaster player with some acrobatics rolling over. Not sure what happened there.
Looks like there's been a call made.
Some of the Lancaster players laughing on the sidelines. Possibly a bit more of a humorous one rather than a serious call. See what happens here. York with possession of the disc in their own half. Can they play it forward now? Can't quite get the throw off, and again possession switches back to Lancaster on this far side. Need to really get the pressure on now, Lancaster. Again, deep into this business end. I reckon we're working with probably about six or 7 minutes now.
Yeah.
Left this fixture, and still trailing by a significant margin.
At this point in the game, every single turnover by Lancaster is crucial to them because it basically could be a winning chance for them.
Here we go, Lancaster playing around. They do have the wind in their advantage. Can they capitalise on that? Looking for people in the end zone. 2 people in. And it is caught.
And that's a score to Lancaster, making it 9-6.
I believe 10-6.
10-6, sorry, my bad.
No worries, 10-6. Lancaster trying to claw some back. I believe that's a 5-minute chart I might have just heard. I'm sure, it seems like York's more eager to get started than Lancaster side. Lancaster having another little team chat. Wonderful stuff.
There's 6 minutes. It's 6 minutes left.
I believe 6 minutes
6
left.
minutes,
5 minutes left essentially around that time. So Lancaster really needs to get a move on now. Not long left now. Lancaster lining up.
With this little time left, the pressure is rising for both Lancaster and York.
But unfortunately, I think this game might be signed, sealed and delivered. And looks like it's going to be 4 points as it stands going to York.
Great pull by the Lancaster team.
Yeah, really deep pull in towards the York end zone. We can actually hear the chants in the arena with the volleyball going on at the moment. The volleyball second open.
The infamous volleyball chants. Unfortunately, that just landed on the floor before the York team could lay a finger on it.
Lancaster now playing it round.
York's trying to pull off the tight zone defense.
Deep throw.
However, it's intercepted by a York team.
Oh, unfortunate drop there by Ollie Hart, number 17. To switch possession back over. Lancaster now trying to play for the middle. Ben Leake looking for people in the end zone. Hammer over. Big D there by York, and possession switches once again.
Looks like there's been a foul call.
Yeah, another spirit call in this match seems to be quite itty-bitty. Obviously, it's going to be very competitive at Roses, and you know, quite famously in the past, there's been a lot of spirit calls in these matches. Last time round, Roses, York did take the victory. I believe it was 14-10 last year. Let's see if history repeats itself. Izzy now on this right-hand side. Oh, not.
A little miscommunication right there.
Yeah, not quite caught off guard there by Chloe, but Izzy now and Chloe working this little zone, but Lancaster playing it through them.
Well, gift goes given by Lancaster.
Really looking for some in this end zone. They're crowding it. Playing very well on these kind of close plays. Maybe that mirrors how well they're playing indoors earlier on this weekend. Dropped, unfortunate drop. Maybe a bit of a lazy throw off there. Maybe a bit faster to hand it off there.
Deep throw to Rory of York.
Rory maybe been a bit hesitant there. Maybe could have caught it off in the end zone. Stumbling a bit. Hart. Lovely throw in the end zone.
That's a score for York.
Lays in the end zone for number 10 for York.
Score now is 11-6 to York. You can hear the York sideline is so pumped up by that score. With a little cheeky Yorkshire chant.
As York fans tuning in, very glad to hear about this very good scoreline. If you're a York fan, Lancaster, unfortunately not putting forward in this open category, but still all to play for the mix later on. I'm sure that's going to be another highly contested match.
Hopefully the sun's out, so it's a little bit warmer for everyone.
Yeah, maybe players have warmed up a bit more, had a bit more time. Potentially had a bite to eat, so a lot more energy going into it, and maybe a bit more crowds to pump up the people. But yeah, looks like this match might be sealed and done. Still a bit of wind here, and the horrible clouds looming over. Hopefully the heavens don't open up. But yeah, if you're only just tuning in, welcome to the York Sport Arena. This is Ultimate Frisbee outdoor. You're not going crazy. You've probably seen Frisbee being played earlier on in the Roses, but that was indoor. One of the only sports to have an outdoor and indoor fixture. I believe actually the only sport over Roses to have two different types of event, where it's pretty much all the same players.
Because that Lancaster fumbled a bit with that catch, so this goes to York.
York, actually, Ultimate Frisbee, famous in the past, has given a lot of points to York, but a lot of points overall to the teams. As a lot of points are being played for. It's one of the only sports in Roses that you know, the amount of players being played to the amount of points that can be scored is very high. So these fixtures are really, really important, and there's been a lot of talks in the past about do they score points for the indoor fixtures? Are they exhibition matches? And same goes for the outdoors, but indoors and outdoors are just as important, and same goes for all the different types, the open, the mixed, as well as the women's matches.
Unfortunately, Lancaster slightly dropped the disc, the slight miscommunication right there, slightly too much of a hasty throw, and now this goes back to York's possession.
Now can they get another point here? Little vert stack, lovely throw by Ollie, and a lovely catch by number 3 for York. Lewis, throw it back to Ollie, and he kind of goes to the floor with that one. Oh, Lancaster, maybe another day would have called that, and a bid there by number 38 for York, but doesn't quite catch it, unfortunately.
Really good effort.
Yeah, lovely effort, but not quite successful. Lancaster now trying to play it down the pitch. Not a lot of time to play with now. Really in the dying moments of this match. Playing it through the centre. There we go, number 23.
York trying to stay as tight in terms of the defence.
A deep throw into the end zone for Lancaster. Can they catch it? And it just goes outside the end zone, so even if he did bid for it, I don't think that would have been a point. Newton giving a bit of encouragement to his team. Going very slowly to collect the disc. Little thumbs up to the team. He knows what he's doing. Not going to rush into this at all. Lovely and bitter. I'm sure this is what the players wanted to wake up to this morning. Nice, fresh fixture, 9:15. After potentially a big night out the night before. Ollie looking for a pass. Little hammer throw over to the other side. Lovely little throw.
Great catch by number 3 as well.
Ollie Newton playing on club level as well for the York the local York club. But with a lovely throw in the end zone. Sorry, very obscure there. And a
That
Points
was a
gonna-
score.
point come out of nowhere for York there. I believe that makes it
12-6 to York.
12-6 to York, doubling the points tally again. Apologies for that, for a bit of mixed coverage. That really was unexpected. I think it seemed like the disc went behind the York
Yep.
player, and then
It went past two Lancaster players, if I believe, and it just so happened that one of the York players was literally
in the end
in
zone,
the end
waiting
zone,
for it.
yeah.
Very obscure. Maybe a bit of a hesitant defense there from Lancaster. Not a miscommunication, not knowing who to shut that one down. But once again, York find themselves on the score sheet, and I believe that's Ollie Newton again with the assist, finding himself again on the score sheet. What a surprise!
Ollie Newton has been an absolute machine in both in Ultimate Frisbee and Roses in general. He's been playing for table tennis. He played for the volleyball's men's first yesterday, and also won that as well.
Yeah, I mean, very influential figure for the York side. Obviously trains very hard, and it's insane to see someone who does so many sports. I know
Exactly,
definitely in previous Roses we've had some issues with times not lining up correctly
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
can't make a Roses around Ollie Newton, obviously. So I'm sure he'd also gonna pop his head inside after this to the volleyball and check and see if his other York teammates are doing well.
Looks like the wind has picked up a little bit more, so it's getting a little bit more chilly
And
now.
it looks like this could potentially be one of the final points to be played in this match. 12-6 currently to York if you're just tuning in. Welcome to Roses Live on the final day of Roses 2025. A chicken wing throw there by Rory to Paul. He's just here to have fun.
If anyone knows Rory personally, he always talks about doing a chicken wing pull. Ollie just doesn't give him the chance to do it, but maybe he has a chance now in Roses.
Yeah, with a big points advantage. Maybe that might come up in the spirit call later as a sign of disrespect, but I'm sure Lancaster wouldn't have too many issues with that. Lancaster now looking to break this this wind. Lovely throw on this far side, number 63. Looks to play it down, and that is a turnover for the York side. Possession switches. Newton to pick up. Is there another point in here for York? And they throw it deep. Can Raphael catch it in the end zone? And he does!
Yes, and that's a score to York. 13-6 to York.
Big celebration there by Raphael. Enjoying that one. Lovely throw by Newton in the end zone. Once again, finds himself in the score sheet. I feel like we could talk about him all day. What an athlete. But really, really lovely play for York there. As players go in, seems like they're going to call it match there. I believe that's going to end as 13-6 to York. And they're going to go over and shake the hands of players, and we can see if we can get a little interview with the team captain himself here on Roses Live, where we're going to be providing your coverage for the final day of Roses 2025, ending tonight. So make sure you tune in for the final fixture, which is the women's rugby. And later on today we have other fixtures such as the cricket, which I believe is going to be covered on the radio. Obviously all results are going to be read live here on Roses Live, and you can check out the website, roseslive.co.uk. Also coming up the lacrosse mixed, which is the exhibition fixture. The dance, which is a massive fixture. This is in Central Hall. This is a very heated competition between the dance. The teams, both York and Lancaster, face each other a lot of times throughout the year, especially at the, I believe it's the UDYS dance comp, and also Lancaster for their own dance comp. So very fierce rivals, the Lancaster and York dance teams. We also have the mountain biking happening today. That's at the York Sport Village. As well as the volleyball also going on. And you join us back here later, 12:45, for the Ultimate Frisbee Outdoor Mix. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about that with our interview coming up. The futsal's also happening today, as well as all the rugby. This is kind of very good temperature, very good weather for the rugby. And we're going to be joined now by the York players and the York captain, Ollie Newton, watch your language,
And vice captain.
and vice captain Raphael. Do you want to join me just over here?
I'll join you around.
Here we go. So we are joined pitchside here at the York Sport Arena. Pitchside at the athletics track. How are we feeling, boys, after that amazing win in the open category for ultimate outdoors?
Very good, very good. We wanted to come in strong to this game after losing the men's indoors yesterday. So yeah, we did that, and yeah, we were pretty much, apart from the start, we were up the whole game.
Yeah, I mean there was a turning point in the match where you broke wind, and then once you got that, it was kind of game over. Raphael, do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, well, we'd lost obviously the first point, and we'd been kind of trading ever since. And that was kind of the important turning point where we kind of put the foot on the pedal a bit, and basically fought a really hard upwind point to get the point.
And that happened immediately afterwards as well. You broke 2 in a row, really good. I mean, you got basically a 3-point advantage, and from there it just started climbing, and then 4 points later, and Lancaster only get a point back. What's going through your head? What are you telling the people in those first moments? And then, what's the difference between the first half of the match and the second half of the match for you as a captain? What were you telling your players?
I think momentum was a really big thing in that game. As soon as we got that first break, Lancaster's heads dropped. They knew we really wanted this game and that we were going to fight for it. So once we'd got that first break and then that second game, we had the momentum. So then I was just telling everyone, guys, we just keep putting pressure on them now and they're going to fold. And that's what they did.
Yeah, and it's very evident to see. I mean, yeah, really great show from the York side. Raphael, how was those points battling against the wind? I'm sure you...
Well, it was basically a classic attempt of Huck and D where you get it and then you just pelt it as far as you can and pray that it just goes straight.
But you did really well. I mean, there was points there where you weren't just getting turnovers. It wasn't getting turnover up the pitch. It was getting turnover kind of in your own end, and you had to work it up. So, and then there's some points kind of come out of nowhere where you cut to finding breaks in those winds where you managed to get it up and really took advantage of the weather. What was that got to do with your victory today?
Yeah, a lot. I think we managed to break through their zone that little bit better than they did ours. We had outdoor nationals last month where it was quite windy conditions the whole weekend, and we won that tournament by playing exactly the same way, by getting those key upwind breaks and then making sure we convert on all of our downwinds as well.
Do you think tactics changed throughout the match?
I think one thing we focused on after getting those couple of break points up, like you said, the 3-point difference, we really focused on resetting our mindset as if it was still 0-0 and not letting them get back into the game. So that was a really big focus in the second half, was just to stay, focusing on not conceding, basically on our own points.
Of course. And there was a lot of spirit calls in that match, a lot of decisions, a lot of people come off the pitch due to the injury. Obviously, we're over here, we can't really see much of this. Obviously, people watching at home from their nice and warm sofas, hopefully not out in the cold with us. What was that like on the pitch for those spirit calls? Do you think it was well done? How do you think the spirit went throughout the match?
Yeah, I think it was good. I think Lancaster are a really nice team. We've played against them a lot. Well, this is my 3rd year now, so I feel like I've played against them a lot.
But this is the first time this year you've played them, though.
In outdoors, yeah. So no, yes, there were quite a few spirit calls, and everyone on the sideline's going to have their opinions, but they were always talked about well. Like, no one got angry with each other, which is what you want to see.
That's fantastic.
So it was a good spirited game.
And you got the mixed later. Any words on that?
Well, let's go win it.
We're going to smoke them.
Well, there we go. So it finishes 13-6 to York here at York Sport Arena. Thank you for joining me, boys.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll join you later at 12:45 for the mixed.
Bit earlier, maybe.
Bit earlier?
Maybe.
Bit earlier. We'll have to wait and see. But you're going to catch it here on Roses Live for all your coverage today. I believe we're also going to be joined by the Lancaster team for a short interview about how they've done. Let's see if they're going to join us over here. I believe it's Ben Leake, the captain, and Alexander. There we go, from the Fish team. Very quick first question for you boys. Fish.
Yes.
Why fish?
A story that probably won't get approved on camera. So.
All right. Well, we won't go there. We won't go there. Classic Roses fashion. Probably a story we shouldn't tell on camera. Boys, how was that for you out there? I spoke to you before the match. Obviously, saying you're trying to work on your defense. that first half of that match was really highly competitive, and then unfortunately,
Yeah.
when York got that break wind, it
Spirits were high yesterday, and I think today we started off well and got to like 4-all, I think it was around that, and then they started getting a few breaks on us, kind of de-rolling us, and instead of fighting back, we kind of sunk.
Oh, no.
And that was where we really struggled to come back. I think spirits got down. Wind was getting to us, and we struggled.
Yeah, really tough weather out there. How do you think that affected the match, Alexander?
Well, it always affects the throws. You know, windy, especially if the disc is higher up in the air. So usually our overheads are really strong, but higher the disc, more wind, more unpredictable, which we put a lot of them deep and they just didn't come off. I think York just had that execution that we didn't, especially with those longer throws.
And what was being said to your players you had a lot of team talks at the sideline during that. It seemed like the whole team was coming over at times. It was quite funny to notice as the weather got colder, you seemed to get a lot closer together on those team talks. What were you saying to the team to try and rally them? Obviously, when you're fighting from kind of 4 points down and you're trying to get back.
It was trying to just get the spirits up and say, we were almost playing against ourselves at points, and it's trying to get our team back with it. We know we're a good team, and we probably weren't playing as well as we could, so it's just trying to get spirits high and get us playing how we can and how we should, really.
Yeah, of course. And obviously we have the mixed fixture later. Is there anything going on in your brain? Anything you want to say to troops before that?
I'm not playing, I'm getting a pint the second this is done.
Getting a pint the second it's done. What about you?
I think now it'll probably be collecting ourselves a bit, having a break. I think it might be a shorter turnaround than expected. So yeah, it will probably be collecting our thoughts after that and talking about what went wrong and what we can improve. Right now, I do not know.
Wonderful. Well, have a good rest of your day at Roses. I'll hopefully see you later in the mixed fixture. And commiserations once again, but hopefully you can turn around in the next fixture.
Amazing.
Thank you. So yes, that was the Lancaster fish side. Once again, we cannot say that story on live on air, why they're called fish apparently. No, very strange. This is the first time I've ever heard about this. So we're joined by Chloe. How was that match for you?
Oh, it was great. It was really good because we were really upset because the women conceded the outdoors, and I was thinking that I wouldn't get another game, but then played open and it was so fun.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, when I saw you come on the pitch, I first thought, is this a mixed fixture? What's going on? And you playing the open. How was that for you?
We were channeling that lad energy, me and Izzy, who were playing. We really, really channeled it, and we just had a great time. I mean, I think I was taking a bit more of a sit-back role because I haven't really played how the open guys play. Women play a bit more ratty, but it was fun.
Yeah, how was that for you, playing in the open side, obviously being the women's captain, I believe you are. How was that for you, the difference playing under Ollie?
Yeah, it was very different. As we're walking onto the line, we're like, are we on? Are we on? And then you go on and we're like, yeah, let's go. It's very different not knowing what you're doing as much.
Interesting. And obviously, Izzy getting on the score sheet twice, I believe. Really, really amazing stuff. And for you guys playing, what was that like against the weather with the floor? Seems to be a few injuries.
Yeah, I think we normally. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there we go,
we
no
normally
worries.
train on the 22, so it's a bit different with the sand and pitch. But I like the pitch. It's nice having a full-sized pitch. The ground is very hard. It's been very warm these past few days, so we just have to watch our landings and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, it's very nice to play out on the athletics pitch, so it was good fun.
And what was it like on the sidelines with the people? Good to hear the crowd?
Oh, it's so good. We have a horn. I don't know if you heard it, but
Yeah, I heard the Vuvuzela, very loud from over here. I can't imagine how loud it was on the pitch.
it was so fun. But then we felt a bit bad doing it just for Lancaster, so every time we dropped, we also did it to make it a bit more fair.
Yeah, to make it a bit more fair. That's nice. That's the spirit of the game. So obviously going to the mixed fixture now. Any words for your team going into it?
Lads, channel that lad energy.
Channel that loud energy. Well, you've heard it here first. Thank you so much for joining me, and good luck in your fixture rest of the day, and enjoy the rest of the day at Roses.
Yes, you
Thanks,
too.
guys.
Thank you very much.
No worries. And hopefully you can catch all the rest of the fixtures for Ultimate Frisbee, as well as all the other sports coming up on roseslive.co.uk, where you can find out about all the results. And maybe today we'll see a Lancaster victory, as it looks like a red ribbon is going to be tied around that trophy, which obviously from a York perspective, not so fun.